Hello, everybody. Welcome to an exciting event, the Civilization 6 AI Battle Royale live here on Twitch. My name is David Hinkle. I'm the community manager for Civilization, and I'm joined by associate producer Andrew Dutra.
How's it going, everybody?
Hi, let's start with a handshake.
Yeah, let's do
Good
that.
handshake.
Good to be here
Firm,
tonight.
very strong. Mr. Dutra, just want to thank you for taking time away
Of course.
from actually working on the game. Because,
Happy to be here.
you know, game's out in a couple days. It's still not done, believe it or not. But I want to thank you very much for being...
Every minute counts.
Yeah, every minute counts. And I'm glad to be keeping you away from the game right now.
Oh, yeah.
We're off to an amazing start. But our expert here, Mr. Dutra, and what we kind of wanted to do with this is offer a kind of a pre-game analysis of what you're about to see. It's a very exciting situation here. And, you know, let's just... We have a lot of people coming in who might not be familiar with Civilization 6. And so what is Civilization 6? It's a grand strategy game, a series that's been around for 25 years.
25 years.
25
That's a long
years.
time.
Not a lot of franchises can say that. I like to imagine it is the premier strategy game out there, strategy series.
I think folks on Steam would agree. I mean,
Oh, man, I hope so.
It's been around for a long time, and it's been around for a long time for a good reason.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
folks at Firaxis know exactly what they're doing, and they keep doing it, and they keep doing a great job at it. So,
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, I feel humbled being here. I'm glad that I'm able to be here, and I'm very happy to have you here joining us.
Working this job is something else, let me tell you.
I'll tell you, every day is something new, for sure. So Civilization 6, great game. We're getting ready to launch here in a couple days. But we wanted to do something special with this AI Battle Royale. Now, if you are a member of the Civ subreddit, or just a Redditor in general, you probably know what these Battle Royales are. Essentially, what they do is they take a bunch of Civs, let the AI control them, and let them play out a game and see what happens. The thing is, this is live. We have no idea how this is going to go. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
It's also very scary, but more exciting than scary. And, you know, we're going to watch a game between 8 different Civs unfold entirely before our eyes, live here on Twitch.
Anytime you get the AI involved, that it's controlling itself, it's just kind of a toss-up. You never know exactly what it's going to do, where it's going to go, and it's always really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think one of the biggest things really about this Battle Royale is Civilization 6 is different in a lot of ways from Civilization 5. Because we have this whole principle of unstacking cities,
Oh, yeah.
which, you know, in Civilization 5, everything is kind of in the city core, the city center.
Exactly. In Civilization 5, there's some stuff that you can get outside the city, so like farms and whatnot. But for the most part, everything, including wonders, is right inside the city. In Civ 6, as you were saying, we unstack everything, and now we have these new districts as well, which include additional buildings, which then take up hexes. So everything's outside the city sprawls, or civilization sprawls, and so land management becomes a big deal.
Yeah, and it means the map is even more vital than before. So in this game where we have 8 AIs and we have no idea what they're going to do, a lot of you know, what we see as being the strengths and or potential weaknesses of these civs going at it together is dependent upon what kind of map we see.
Yeah, what kind of map? And again, as a player, not to say it's all about the map, obviously, there's a lot of different mechanics in the game that allow players to utilize their land like they wouldn't have been able to do before.
Right.
So depending on where you are, maybe you had a certain strategy with a certain civ, now you're in a location that you weren't expecting, you can still make that work depending on what civics you go through, what techs you go through. But yes, always a good start to be around a lot of resources, and if you like trade, to be around a lot of civs. Obviously, those things will definitely play a factor.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, before we get into our rundown of the 8 civs that are participating, let me go into marketing mode here real quick. Preload is live on Steam right now, which means if you pre-ordered the game, you can actually load it onto your system and be ready to play the second it unlocks on Steam. So if you're interested in doing that, go ahead and check out a link in the chat, or head on over to Steam and just search for Civilization 6 and get it. If you are one of the people to pre-order, you will unlock Aztecs on day 1. Aztecs are actually the first civ we're going to jump in here in a second. But that content will unlock free for all players 90 days after release. So definitely lock in that pre-order. Support the developers, support us here at 2K, and you know, really just can't say enough positive things about Firaxis. I mean, 25 years of this series. They are doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, and the folks at Firaxis really are great people. You know, it's easy to forget the fact that there's companies making these games, but actually those companies are made up of people, and the people at Firaxis, the people themselves, I've met a lot of them. They're just fantastic, great people. They love what they do. They put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into these games, a ton of love into these games. And a lot of the folks at Firaxis have been working on Civilization games for a while.
And generations. I mean, you see sons and daughters come in and work at Firaxis, with their parents. On
some of them,
it's amazing. I don't know if I could say that about any other development studio. Anyway, we're kind of getting off track.
Sure.
Let's get down to what civs are participating in this AI battle royale. So first up, we're going to go in alphabetical order. We have the Aztecs. Again, these guys are an early game powerhouse.
Amazing early game powerhouse. You've got Montezuma, who again, great at kind of being angry, very aggressive, and again, as art goes, leader style, he looks amazing in game.
Yeah,
like he really shows his emotion. The plumage. He got a lot of feathers, and he pulls it off. He looks mean. He looks aggressive. He looks like somebody you don't want to mess with. And you really shouldn't, especially with their early unit. The Eagle Warrior who takes over for the regular warrior, very powerful. And they can also make builders out of other enemies that they conquer. And so those builders, another unique ability, can help you construct districts.
Absolutely. And you spend those builders to speed that along. The Eagle Warriors, pretty much the first unit in the game. So you go around your early conflicts, you defeat other units, convert them into builders. It allows you to rush, snowball, kind of get some distance between you and the other civs in the early game.
Yeah, these guys are a great early start civ.
Yeah,
really good.
I think strong contender once we get to near the end and we start talking about our picks here.
Yeah, of course.
But let's move on to the second civ here, which is Brazil. Brazil led by Pedro II.
Yeah, Brazil is great. They've got some early game start stuff that helps them as well. But they're going to be focusing a lot on amenities and also on great people generation. That's really where their strength lies.
That culture game. And the thing is, when they spend a great person, they get those points back, right? Like they're able to take some back and bank it and just kind of keep going forward with that.
Yeah, and as some users might not know, great people in Civilization 6 can actually be extremely powerful, and each great person will do something different depending not only on who the person is specifically, but also what area you're in and what type of great person it is, whether he's for commerce or if he's a general, etc., or she for that matter. But they can do things like, hey, if I've got this great person, they might be able to march across the map and actually grab an iron resource or grab a different resource or a luxury resource that you can take back to your civ without actually having to go out and claim that with your own civilization. So some things can be really powerful, especially when it comes to great people.
Yeah,
so
very versatile. Again, they can play the map very well. But my big concern with them is if they're able to get jungles, because jungles are a big part of their adjacency bonus, kind of their foundation. Rainforest, sorry, jungles, rainforest. So they need those rainforests around them. If the world does not provide, then what are they going to do?
That's true. The rainforests are going to be a huge boon to them. In the early game, it was the best time to have rainforests because usually you end up mowing that down to create more space for yourself. But if you keep that rainforest around and you have a lot of rainforest around, you can get a lot of boost out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, they have their unique replacement for the battleship.
Oh, the Minas Gerais, yeah.
All right, I'm glad you said it because I knew I was going to butcher it. I was definitely going to butcher it. So another strong contender. Moving down the list, next up we have fan favorite England. England's been around for quite a while in the Civilization series. This in Civilization 6, led by Victoria, and I think they have some really interesting expansionist kind of mechanics.
Yeah, they're definitely centered around expansion and culture, and a lot of their skills and abilities play into that a lot. So they're, especially when you get into the mid game with the redcoats, they actually are stronger on different continents. So the further you get away from your capital, they do way more damage, right? And so that plays into like, well, if they're stronger further away, I'm going to send them out and make that happen. Not only that, they've also got the Royal Dockyard, which adds to that even more because then you get more production towards your shipbuilding. That will get ships out faster, get your transport guys out sooner,
and that gold too for harbors that are on other continents. That brings it into the fold. But really, the key to kind of keeping them in check, in my opinion, is just bullying them really early on. So if we see any of the AI, especially if they are kind of settling their first cities near each other, then we could see the AI adapting, the foes of England adapting that strategy to kind of keep them from getting so expanded out there.
Especially because in the late game they have amazing culture boosts, including extra artifacts that they can house, so that becomes a real game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so our next one we have here, which is pretty interesting for Civilization 6, we have Greece. Now, Greece, if you saw last week we actually revealed the first look video for Gorgo, which is the second available leader to Greece. Greece is the civ in the game that has 2 different leaders available, Pericles and Gorgo.
Yep.
And here we're using Gorgo in the AI game. We're seeing Gorgo in the AI game. And Gorgo is more of a militaristic
Very militaristic.
leader.
So she's the leader of Sparta, so of course militaristic in that sense. But not only that, so that's paired with culture. So the more militaristic you are, the more enemies you kill, the more culture you get, because she gets boosts off of culture from killing other units, which is pretty amazing, which really drives your war machine at that point.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
if you're trying to get that culture going.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Greece player and you're playing as Gorgo, like it's really hard to kind of ignore that military side early game and to kind of keep focusing on that, because like the byproduct, the ancillary bonuses, I guess you could say, are just so amazing. It's just, yeah, it's free culture. Bring it in. Bring it in.
And to amplify that, then she gets the hoplite unit, which can create sort of a phalanx formation. If you have hoplite units next to each other, they get bonuses based off of each other.
Yeah.
And that just, especially in the earlier game, can really dominate.
Yeah, I think of these 8 civs that we're seeing in this AI game, hoplites are definitely one of the better unique units. They're stronger unique units.
They're great in the early game. If you can field a lot of hoplites early on, they're going to come on later than the Aztecs' Eagle Warrior, but not too much later. And if you can field a lot of those hoplites, you can really steamroll some of the other civilizations, especially if you're catching them off guard.
Now, if you're getting into the later portions of the game, do you think volume is something that would, like quantity of hoplites would help offset kind of their...
So quantity, you got to remember they've got that adjacency bonus.
Yeah, so the more you have,
you got to want to have more.
Always want more.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, with the corpse mechanic, core mechanic, I always say corpse, it's CORPS, you know, you can link them together and then amplify that even more.
True, and that comes on a little bit later in the game, but yeah, if you're able to research that soon enough and you still have some hoplites around, you can definitely create some of those stacks.
Yeah.
Which will be really nice to have around.
Don't mess with Gorgo. Do not mess with Gorgo. Okay, so moving on, we've got our next one, which I've almost been thinking of this like a sleeper hit, but we have Japan, led by Tokumune.
Yeah, Japan is actually really popular. It's a great choice. Every time we've shown this game so far this year to press or to media or to whoever, Japan's actually a really popular choice. Again, it might have to do with aesthetics because Tokumune looks great in game, but they've also got the samurai, which is, I'm going to say, even over the hoplites, the samurai might be the most awesome mid-game unit. It replaces the swordsman, and no matter how damaged they are, they still fight at full strength.
Yeah,
and
that's
that is
crazy to think about.
Massively crazy, especially when you consider that, for folks who don't know, anytime you have a unit that's damaged, they start doing less damage, they become less effective, and significantly so. So you can actually get beat by a lesser unit if your stronger unit is damaged. Not so with the samurai.
Yeah, I mean, before you engage in battle and you look at that kind of matchup, that combat matchup, you know, units that dwindle more, it's like, yeah, you know, it's blood in the water, and you're a shark, you can just taste it, right?
Yeah.
But not with the samurai, man. They go down fighting super strong.
Yeah.
And
they do well with Japan's strategy, which is they get a lot of bonuses for staying close.
Yeah, compact.
You can be very defensive with Japan, and if you've got one samurai who's fending off multiple units, he's going to hit each one of those units just as hard as the last.
Absolutely. But do you feel like they're almost like they have to turtle up to be effective in this game here?
So they're actually almost in a way designed to turtle up, because they do get bonuses from stacking districts next to each other. So districts get higher bonuses from being closer together. And so instead of spreading way out like some other civs are more able to do, you're actually inclined to keep it closer together, which can actually be really helpful, and you can use those bonuses a lot on smaller map tiles, or if you want to like start populating through islands and island chains.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we talked a little bit about how much of a variable the map is going to be in this game, but also the other big variable is just where these civs are going to settle. So for somebody like Japan, who, you know, I consider kind of a sleeper hit in this situation, a sleeper choice, you know, if they're paired up around other civs early on, especially military civs who are just really bloodthirsty, could be really tough for them to kind of get away.
Could be.
Okay, so moving on to the next one, we have another fan favorite, perhaps the fan favorite.
Probably the fan favorite.
Rome, led by Trajan. And Rome, man, ooh.
All roads lead to Rome.
They got a lot of sweet, tasty bonuses here.
They do.
You know,
and one of the major ones that they do have is every city links up to the capital with a road immediately. Every other civ has to use traders to create trade routes, which then build the roads for you. Rome doesn't need that. They get those roads immediately, which is great for commerce, great for movement, and you can really start building up a huge economy with that. And then, of course, they've also got the Legion, which can be devastating.
Vicious.
And when you have a strong economy and strong military units, you can just keep plowing those guys out.
Yeah, and they're military engineers, so building the forts and having that ability, those charges on them, is just oh so sweet. And really the roads thing is such a big deal because
It really is.
I mean, if you look at it in terms of just the context of the game, it's a really powerful tool. But if you look at the great civilizations of history, infrastructure, man, like that's a strong infrastructure really sets a civilization
Rome,
apart.
as we all know, Rome was very good at that whole infrastructure bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So they're really strong contender, and I have a feeling a lot of people in the chat right now are probably agreeing and saying that Rome is their pick. Which, by the way,
in not so many words.
Yeah, not so many words. Maybe not so politely, but if you got a pick from what we're talking about here so far, or what we're going to get to next, throw it up in the chat, man. Please share. So next one, I know that you're anxious to talk about. This one.
Yeah, I am very partial to Russia. I do enjoy Russia. They've got some great mechanics. And one of the biggest things, well, first, let's start with the leader, Peter the Great. Again, amazing art. He looks amazing in game.
Yeah,
the character
just a little,
really comes through.
So
he's good. He's
so
good.
high society.
But one of the things that I find that makes them very powerful, especially in the game where the map now is more important than ever, is their first city and all their cities get way more land at first founding.
They get like double the tiles.
They get double the
right?
tiles.
Like that is insane.
That is insane. And so you can start not only grabbing resources a lot faster in theory, especially if you can get your population to go up, but then you can also start blocking off land from other people.
Yeah.
In a much faster sense. So I mean, it's pretty nuts.
It's nuts, man. I absolutely agree. And if the AI plays like I play, then they will never ever open their borders ever. And by grabbing all those tiles, you essentially dominate a large part of the map. You open up a lot of different tiles that you can work with. You have that variety of resources around you, and you never ever let anyone in ever.
Ever.
Both physically,
Never, ever.
emotionally, mentally.
You take away the welcome mat. Nobody's welcome.
Nobody's ever allowed
Lock
to.
the door.
Yeah. So Russia is really strong choice, and I pretty much agree with everything.
And one of the things
you said there.
and one of the things before we move on real quick is they can be very religiously inclined. They do have a unique religious building that they can get, and also they would get bonuses from tundra. So depending on where they are on the map, if they are close to any tundra, close to the poles, they can really make use of that tundra.
Right. And let's not forget their unique unit, the Cossacks.
Oh, the Cossack, yeah.
Cossacks.
Yeah, Cossack.
Yeah, this is why I try not to say things, but they can move after they've taken their action, after they've engaged in combat.
And again, plays into the expansion part. Lots of tiles, lots of room. You need a unit that can cover that space, so they got a lot of movement.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to touch on one thing real quick before we get to our next and final civ, because I think this is a huge talking point. We talked a lot about military and unique units, but religion is also a very viable way to win this game. All the victory conditions are enabled, so any of them, any way the AI wants to go for victory, they can go for it. So religion is going to be a big part of this game.
I really hope so. I mean, you never know what the AI is going to do.
Well, yeah, that's true. But again, live, we have no idea what's going to happen.
But I do hope that religion shows up in a significant capacity, because outside of the domination victory, I think the religion victory might be just as fast, if not faster, to win the game.
Okay.
If you go that route, especially if you do it very effectively. If you can get your religious units around, just like you would be able to get your military around, you can get a religious victory very fast.
Yeah, and that brings us to our eighth and final civ here, which is Spain. Led by Philip II, one of the premier religion civs in the game, very much designed to take advantage of the religious systems that are in the game, the religious mechanics.
Oh yeah, again, another civ that has a religious unique building. They've got, of course, the mission, which gives them additional religious points and everything else. They have the Conquistador.
Oh, love that Conquistador.
The Conquistador is sneaky. So speaking of religion, right, so you got the Conquistador. If you conquer a city and there's conquistadors around it, that city immediately translates to your religion.
Right.
Regardless of what it was before. Whereas if you're a different civ, that doesn't happen immediately. You have to actually get that city
The hard way.
The hard way. and, then
Yeah.
and then you have to give it your own religion. It takes a few turns. But again, with Spain, that happens immediately. So you can actually ramp through cities, especially if
Right.
you're going that route, militaristic / religion. You can maybe go for both.
And linking your conquistadors to religious units as Spain also offers just crazy bonuses as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, their religion game is pretty much off the hook, as the kids say. That's still a term, right? That's still something they say.
Of course it is.
We're in the know. We know things. So those are the 8 civs that are participating in this game. A lot of things to consider. And, tying back to what we were originally talking about, if you're just joining us now, welcome to the Civilization 6 AI Battle Royale. The legacy of this series, 25 years. We just talked about 8 civs that have incredibly deep mechanics, and they intermingle in such complex ways that, honestly, we can't foresee what's going to happen. We don't know what the AI is going to do. We don't know what players are going to do when this game launches October 21st.
Nice.
Ching!
And as we both know, but some users might not know, the leaders have slightly different tendencies each game. So you can never really predict exactly what they're going to do.
Right, the agenda system.
Exactly how they're going to mingle, as you said, with the other civilizations. So there's certain things that just can't be predicted. It's hard to know exactly what will happen.
What a cocktail party that would be with all these leaders together, mingling. It's going to be crazy. I am just so excited. We're going to get to this very, very soon. But this brings us to our final part of our pregame analysis, which I'm sure you've been looking forward to.
I have.
Which are the predictions. I mean, we sat here, we ran down these 8 civs. We talked about the AI and the unpredictability of this game. We have no idea. No idea what's going to happen. This is very exciting. I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited.
I'm thrilled.
Let's get down to what I think are the 2 most fun and fun to talk about picks. First of all, who do you think is going to get knocked out first? Who is the biggest loser in this game? Last place, 8th place.
So again, as we keep discussing and keep going over and over again, it just depends on a lot of different factors of the game. What kind of map, who's next to who's employing what strategy, et cetera, which makes this very difficult. It could be any of them. But for this matchup with these civs,
you're doing a good job of stalling, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Hey,
you're
thinking,
you're thinking, but you're talking through it. Everybody's appreciating it. Everybody's enjoying it.
They want to know. What is he thinking? They're like, get to the answer. Okay. So I'm going to go with, I think Brazil's going to get knocked out first.
Okay.
They have a huge edge as far as great people. I think that's going to be hard to corner. Other civilizations might also be going after the great people, and if they can't corner the great people market, then I think that really drops them down. So I'm, for now, and especially with the whole great rainforest bit, if they don't have a lot of rainforest, they again lose out. So I'm going to say Brazil out.
Okay.
First.
All right. I think that's a pretty interesting choice. It's definitely something that I considered, and but it's not my time. It's your time. So, who do you think is going to win this thing? Who do you think is going to stand atop the pile of corpses
or religious converts?
Yeah, there you go. Who's going to be at the top of the hill?
So I think there's a couple great contenders here. I was mulling over Rome, maybe Japan. A lot of strong choices. Again, any one of them could go, but I'm going to go with Russia.
Okay.
I really think that land grab, getting all those tiles early on, taking away the land from everybody else, is going to give them a huge edge.
Okay, Russia is a strong choice. I can definitely see that. They have. It's very interesting because, I always look at Russia as being that civ that's always chasing a greater civ than themselves, but they use it to kind of slingshot themselves past that civ, right? It's almost like they're just kind of in the slipstream, ready to go right past them, if you know what a slipstream is. So we're learning a lot here today, folks. But yeah, Russia, I think is a great choice. I mean, they're very much a strong contender here.
Now that we've gone over my picks.
Oh man, this transition is great.
What do you think? Who do you think is going to be out first?
Very professional, thank you. So I've been thinking about this quite a bit, and I might surprise you, but I think England is going to go first.
Really?
Yeah, I know a lot of people love England. They have some really interesting, strong core mechanics and bonuses, but It goes back to what I said earlier in terms of that early bullying. Like if they're stifled, if their development is stifled in a very early game, it's really hard for them to kind of make the leaps and bounds to catch up to everybody else. We talked about kind of Japan turtling, but I think England really needs to turtle.
I was going to say, you were talking about Japan as a sleeper. I think England is a bigger sleeper because I think they have a bigger tendency to be able.
How dare you
I don't
disagree?
Stealing
No, it's a very valid point. It's a very valid point. But again, this AI game, we have no idea what's going to happen. So, we're really just speculating for fun, which is always great in these AI battle royale
kind of games. Doing our best to sound very professional and educated while we're doing it.
So, who do I think will win? Let me just take that question from you real quick.
Hey, Dave, who do you think will win?
I think I'm very boring in my pick of who's going to win. I think it's a little bit almost expected, but I got to go with Rome. I mean, that strong infrastructure, that amazing unique unit, and just the coins just falling from the sky. I think they're going to have a lot of the resources that is necessary to be able to pivot kind of suddenly, to really change up tactics and to, the thing that I'm concerned about with them is really just any kind of victory outside of a military victory. But again, they're going to have so much gold, they're going to have resources.
They do have legs. They do have, especially when you have a strong economy. I mean, you can go late into the game.
Yeah.
And that opens you up for cultural victories and everything else. So I think we'd be fooling ourselves if one of us didn't pick Rome.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Cool. Well,
looking forward to seeing who comes out on top on this one. We're probably both going to be wrong.
Me too. Well, that's fine. We're just a tiny blip on this huge radar of the AI battle, which is front and center, the main attraction. We're going to get to that here in a moment, but I got to put on my marketing hat again real quick. So like I said before, Civilization 6, the preload is live on Steam right now. Go ahead and lock in that pre-order. Support the developers, please. They're great people. They do amazing work. And this game is going to be very much worthy of the Civilization name. We're seeing people stream it for the past 2 weeks or so on Twitch. A lot of people had an early access code. The game looks amazing. It's going to be great. So go ahead and lock in that pre-order. Get your Aztec Day 1. You're going to be able to play as the Aztecs Day 1 if you pre-order. That content will unlock 90 days after release for all players. It's just a really great way to show your support for developers who work extremely hard to bring you a game such as this. So,
extremely hard.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And if you're looking for more info on the preload, just go to civilization.com. There's a blog post there front and center. We also have a map there showing exact unlock times for each of the 3 zones across the globe on Steam, so you can see when it unlocks for you, along with some nice little short links there to give you comparison city times across the zones, because the zones are pretty big. It's a big world we live in.
Good old planet Earth.
Yeah, good old planet Earth. So go ahead and make sure you lock in that pre-order. If you did pre-order, preload now so you're ready to go the second it unlocks for you in your region. Having said that, we're almost ready to go here, and I'm just going to do my final shout-outs. Make sure you follow us on social media. We have a Twitter account, which is at CivGame, twitter.com/CIVGAME, CivGame. And that's also our Instagram, instagram.com/CivGame. And then follow us on Facebook. Go and like the page. It's facebook.com/Civ. And then again, finally, our YouTube page, which you'll be able to see the full VOD of this entire AI Battle Royale, will be there in a playlist after we're done on our YouTube page at youtube.com/civilization. Go and lock in. Go and lock in a subscription there. Go subscribe. It's absolutely free, and you can check out all the amazing first look videos we did on each of the civs. Interview with Christopher Tin, who did our theme song. It's an amazing song. And just a ton of great content there.
Yeah, those videos are great.
Yeah.
Really nice.
I mean, they did a great job on those. And I think if you're a new player who's potentially coming into the stream, doesn't know much about the Civilization series, those first look videos really give you a good kind of frame of reference for what each of these civs are about and what the leader agendas are and kind of how to play them.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Dutra.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
Yeah, let's end this thing the way we started it, with a nice firm handshake.
Let's do that.
Nice.
Nice to be here.
Good job.
Thank you. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys. We're going to go ahead and transition over to the Firaxis desk now, where they're going to kick off the AI Battle Royale, Civilization 6 AI Battle Royale.
It's going to be something else.
Coming at you.
I'm going to win. I'm going to win.
You're going to win?
I'm going to win.
Oh, man. It's on.
Russia all the way.
Ooh, Rome.
Mother Russia.
Rome.
Mother Russia.
Rome is strength.
Mother Russia.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Firaxis Games. Thank you to the 2K team who just kicked it over to us. We're very excited. We're about to launch into the AI Battle Royale. My name is Pete Murray. I'm joined today by Ed Beach, lead designer of Sid Meier's Civilization 6.
Hello, everyone.
So we have the game starting up right now, and actually we can go into it. Right now we are playing a special build of the game that the developers created that is explicitly for this AI Battle Royale. So those camera jumps you saw right there are for the founding of the various cities throughout the game. You see we have messages at the top of the screen explaining that cities are founding. We'll see these throughout the course of today's playthrough. As key events happen, we'll be notified of them by our advisor system. So we're already seeing some early action, but let's actually pause the game for a moment after these guys finish their battle, and let's take a look at the world that we have going on here. So I'm going to turn it over, and Ed, you want to grab the controls and take a look? Go ahead and zoom out for a second.
Okay, and before I dive too far in, let's talk a little bit about the history of battle royales in the Civilization universe. It actually started, I think it was at least back to Civ 4, where we first started setting it up so that the AI could autoplay through a game.
Right.
I was the AI lead on Civilization 5, and so it was actually my job to sit there once we had a new feature implemented and run lots and lots of AI games like this and look at the results. So I actually sort of was full-time in Battle Royale mode trying to figure out whether or not the AI was doing everything it should do for Civ 5. Now I've since handed most of that responsibility over to Andrew Garrett, who's going to be coming in next after us, and who's going to has been our AI lead on Civilization 6. And he's been the one who's been sort of most focused on AI performance. But it's something that the whole team has jumped on and taken responsibility for. We have had a computer set up, actually recently a bunch of computers set up in the hallways running continuous AI games. We always look into how those are going, what's happening in those, like as we're walking up and down the halls, as we go out to lunch, whatever. And so it's been fascinating to see how those evolve. What I'm really excited about today is today we are actually playing one of those games and we are trying to predict the winner. We're trying to look at the map situation and decide who's most advantaged by the way the civs kind of rolled out onto the map.
Right.
You've seen the 30 minutes of pre-game analysis on each of the civs, so we'll be building on that here for the next few minutes, trying to analyze the positions.
So it looks like the Aztecs got off to a pretty solid start right here. Their nearest neighbors are actually two city-states, Jakarta and La Venta.
They also have Yosemite right above them, so they have a natural wonder to kickstart a religion win if they want to.
If they want to. And moving down from there, we actually come down to Brazil. Typical, as usual, they've got their rainforest bias start, so Rio is right on the edge of a huge swath of rainforest right there.
You almost always find them mid-continent. There's Singi de Baraja, the natural wonder.
Yep.
So they've got the chance to have a really powerful religion start with both a nice stretch of rainforest and a natural wonder nearby.
We have a huge undeveloped belt of civs, just kind of with Jerusalem as the only one there, and Yerevan, the other religious city-state right near it. And we come down St. Petersburg, Russia, with its typical tundra start.
Interesting, and they're behind a mountain range from everyone else.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that affects their ability to go wide.
Let's also talk about Russia for a minute. It's really exciting that not only are we doing this live stream today, we have another live stream tomorrow.
Right.
We're diving in. We're going to really engage with all the information we have on multiplayer for you. Basically, there's a lot of stuff that, despite all the coverage that's been out there on Civ 6, that's still been sort of secretly behind the scenes going on that we can kind of share with you over the last couple days here. Russia, for instance, the reveal of that was a couple weeks back, but there was parts of their unique bonuses that were not fully explained to everybody.
We'll get to that a little bit later in the stream. Let's
right,
finish
so that's what I'm going to fill
quick.
people in
Okay.
on. So I'd say on that first continent where we had the Aztecs in the north, Brazil in the middle, and Russia to the south. I mean, Russia has a typical edge of the tundra start, and they're protected by those mountains, but I just don't see a great expansion potential. They're going to either bump into the city-states or they're going to have to go right up north. Somebody's going to, basically that land just north of where you're looking right now, where the natural wonder is, that's going to be hotly contested. If Russia can get in there first, I think they'll do well.
It'll be interesting to
Otherwise,
find
I
out.
think I would give this continent probably to Brazil.
That's an interesting, that's probably a fair bet. So over here, we've got Kyoto as the farthest south civ on this second continent right here, the larger of the two. Interesting place for the Japanese to start. They don't get to take advantage of some of their coastal-based abilities, so it'll be a little hard for them coming out of the gate. They are lucky in that they have a cultural neighbor near them fairly close. They can set up some trading routes pretty quickly if they'd like to. Fair amount of expansion out here, although a lot of tundra
And they've
that's
got
going to be
some
hard for them to
barbarians
use.
lurking right below them that we can already see.
Yeah. England, very interesting start here. Single tile lake. They just missed the river settle, which although they'll get fresh water
is
from the
fine,
lake,
but, yeah.
so that'll be fine. Again, access to rainforest, interesting development there. We've got Rome, who are quite a bit of a favorite for this. Good solid start, middle of the continent. North of them is the Dead Sea, natural wonder. They've got access to an industrial city-state fairly close by. That'll be cool to see if they're able to make use of that. And Sparta, representing the Greeks. I think the Greek civs generally do pretty well. This one has a nice swath of land near it.
Look at her, Gorgo's army already pounding on a barbarian camp, getting extra culture there.
Yep.
Oh, and we have Spain tucked in up at the north.
And Spain in a very unusual situation here. Kind of a rough start, hemmed in on mountains on one side, tundra to the north. They're going to need to break out of this fairly quickly in order to expand out. So we've been asked if we can turn on resources. Because of this build, we are kind of constrained in what we can show you. Resources will be off. We'll be able to see them develop over the course of the game, but we'll continue the action. So our city-states will be taking our turn, and now Madrid. And again, because this is the start of the game, primarily what we're going to see is a lot of early barbarian activity, those camps spawning first scouts and then raiding parties as they go through.
I think one thing to think about in terms of predicting who's going to win this is you have to think about which victory types are most likely to trigger. And it's really hard to get a domination victory in one of these AI-only games. You really have to get to every other capital to achieve that. So that's very unlikely. So we kind of have to focus in on there's going to be a religious victory, a scientific victory, or a cultural victory. I think it's going to be tricky for a religious victory in this game.
Why do you say that?
And I might be totally wrong with my prediction here, but
Okay.
Spain was sort of designed to be the religious victory blocker. They are really strong with, they have bonuses with getting an Inquisition going and the strength of their Inquisitors. So if anyone is going to achieve a religious victory, they're going to have to go through Spain. Although the flip side for that is Spain potentially could win a religious victory themselves, except for I don't think they have the start position here. You know, it's not quite as advantageous as some of the other ones.
Brazil's got the second city up already.
Brazil, you know, is maybe an underdog shot at getting a religious victory because they've got natural wonders nearby them. They have so much rainforest, they can get holy sites that are very strong.
Rome up to a population 4, expanding already, and actually St. Petersburg looks, Aztecs get their second city up. It looks like St. Petersburg has started work on an early game wonder as well too. It looks like they're going to try to get Stonehenge up and going.
I think, well, the Aztecs are off to a great start, but in terms of just start positions, I really liked what I saw from Gorgo in Greece. I thought they had a big chunk of the continent, kind of the eastern edge of that continent that kind of looks like South America there. And so in terms of expansion potential, and if I had to predict somebody as my early prediction just based on quick looks at the map, I'd have to put my money with Gorgo.
I'm inclined to agree with you. Gorgo's got some great territory to expand to. We had somebody ask in chat what difficulty we're playing on. This is set to King right now, so we are playing on King AI difficulty. Although the Aztecs are basically uncontested early on, they're not getting quite the experience on their Eagle Warriors that they might get otherwise, but you know, solid position in the middle of the continent right by themselves. England going hard at some barbarians there, possibly also for that. Oh, and there's the Great Barrier Reef off the coast that we saw.
So let's talk a little bit about how this build works. It's similar to the ones that we've had running in the hallway for months now, but in general, we have key events like here the Aztecs entered the classical era. Those are getting flagged with a separate special messaging system. It's not the gossip system that you'll see in the Civ 6 game.
Correct.
It's not the notification system you see off on the right. It's just sort of a special messaging system that we have just for these Battle Royale games. The Battle Royale name comes from the community. It was the Civ Reddit user T. Panjolin who set those up for us.
Who is watching, and we'd like to say
okay,
thanks
so we
to
want to
you.
give
That's
a
awesome.
thanks out to him because he, we had this capability to do the auto-played games, but we had not expected nearly the level of excitement for them that has been generated in large part through the community's effort.
Right. Russia gets Stonehenge up. That means they're going to be able to found a religion right away.
Oh,
and we
it's
can
all
actually,
the way complete, right?
Yep. And
Okay.
we can show we have the ability to check victory conditions. Obviously, not a lot of these are sensible right now, but we will be able to see, for example, on religion, that Russia has already founded Eastern Orthodoxy. So maybe possibility for a religious victory by Russia.
Okay, and that's great because as we go through the game, we can check what everyone's culture rates are, science rates, faith generation, tourism, all those key stats will be available to us. So we can check in on those as things are going on. Yes, I think, do we have anyone with 3 cities yet? It looks
Interestingly
like
enough-
Brazil might have 2 cities and a settler, if I saw that
and
right.
Rome not expanding. Rome at a high population single city. They haven't sent a settler out yet, or if it was, it might have gotten attacked by barbarians, which I've seen happen occasionally. Aztec have declared war on La Venta. England has entered the classical era.
Okay, well that's a great move by the Aztecs because they want to stay at war as often as they can early in the game so that they can get free builders with their unique unit.
Yep.
So, obviously they can do that initially with the barbarians, but if there's a nearby city-state, that can be a great source of free workers for them.
And then I do want to tell you, you are hearing some sound effects repeated. That is a function of the build. So the barbarian notification and some of the things. Oh, there's Rome's settler popping out, trying to get it underway. England moving out with the cities as well too. Okay, so Rome does have their second city up, but it looks like they are having trouble with barbarian
They actually,
horsemen.
and when you see 2 horsemen or 2 to 4 horsemen, you know that's a barbarian horseman raid from a horse camp. Those are the most dangerous types of barbarian camps at this part of the game. So that's definitely something that's going to slow them down pretty significantly.
So Rusty in chat has asked if your Aztec units, if you capture a unit and turn it into a builder, is it affected by the things that affect your builders? For example, additional build charges and things like that.
No, I believe that's only for brand new
Freshly
created ones.
built
Yeah.
builders, not
I
captured
haven't played
units.
an Aztec game recently, but that's how I remember it. Oh wow, look at La Venta, it's gone. It is
The Aztec took La Venta.
Well, they aren't going to generate any more
No
workers
more-
from it because
no
they've
more-
actually captured it.
And no more stone heads. So there will be no La Venta stone heads, which I'm a little sad about.
Yeah,
Okay.
colossal heads are
Oh,
always fun.
Greece gets a fantastic city location because that one tile to the east of Argos is completely surrounded by mountains. If Gorgo can put a campus in there, it will be amazing over the course of the game.
Somebody should, well, if the Aztecs get serious about religion, they should settle right next to Yosemite there, but they haven't done it yet.
There's Argos with that
that
great
is-
campus location.
Yeah, or a holy site. Either way, it's +5 adjacency bonuses if you tuck it up in those mountains.
That is fantastic.
So yeah, I don't think anyone, if they just looked at the list of 8 civs, would have said that Gorgo and Greece are a likely strong contender here, but she's looking real good right now.
Between free wildcard policies and just kind of getting culture from kills, especially the AI, which on King gets fairly aggressive early on, that can definitely get ahead pretty quickly.
All right, well,
So
how about
Russian
we
slingers
pause
come
and we
through?
look at our really early victory status returns?
Sure, let's take a look at score because that's going to be the best indicator of how things are going. And actually, we can continue the game while we do that because it looks like we've just got barbarians moving through right now. So we'll bring up our victories and we'll bring up the scores. Oh, they've got a commercial district under
All
there,
right,
the
so
Aztecs do.
Greece is in the lead with 70 points. You can actually hit the show details if you want. People can get a breakdown as to sort of how the scores are computed if you haven't seen that before.
And Greece is getting it from civics, empire, great people, religion, 14
You would
techs.
expect them to have a lead in civics, but the empire score means they've expanded, created a lot of cities, gained a lot of tiles. Typically, Russia leads sort of in the empire score.
They're only at 54, a little
Right.
bit of a slow start.
I
And
think
Rome,
I didn't see a second Russian city, so
Rome chugging along at 49. That's rough for them.
Brazil's a contender though.
At 69,
Yeah,
they're
right
in
the
second place.
rainforest. Brazil's always going to be dangerous.
Yep. Okay, so Russia taking advantage of the Lavra to start generating disciples, and Ed's going to grab. Ed, are you opening the Civlopedia?
Oh, I might just be opening the Civlopedia because I want to go and talk about Russia briefly. So we're going to go and look at the districts tab, and we better pause the game.
Let's pause this. Okay. And that's good because the Aztec have just moved into the medieval era.
Okay, and here's what we missed in terms of the rollout of information on Russia. The Lavra, everyone just picked up on what the description of it was, that your city border grows by one tile when a great person is expended in that city.
Yes.
But there are a lot of bonuses that we tie to buildings and districts and wonders and so forth that we don't necessarily put in the descriptive text because they're just automatically broken down in sort of the detailed stats section. So here we have the Lavra being a religious district. It always generates 2 great profit points per you per turn.
Right.
But in addition, it gives you 1 great writer, 1 great artist, and 1 great musician point. So I'm playing a Russia game right now, on the side, my single player game. I have really noticed the effect of that. I've put a Lavra into each of my 4 main cities, and I'm actually finding that getting the culture game going, getting great works from those great people is very, very easy. So I'm not sure that's going to help Russia in this game with them only languishing with only a single city, but it definitely is going to help people playing Russia in the game in general.
And those great works useful, also very useful for diplomacy, make good trade chits. The AI likes to trade around for them a lot, which is pretty awesome. Looks like Tenochtitlan is kicking off maybe the construction of a wonder or a new district. Okay, it looks like we've got another war
Yeah, it looks
that's
like
just
the
kicking
Oracle
off.
is coming online outside Kyoto.
So we've got some city-states declaring war on each other. Brazil's settling up a war that it was going. England founding a new city. So these messages sort of queue in a stack and can take place over some turns. So you'll see bursts of these like this. Okay, so Brazil and the Aztec were clearly at war earlier. It's been settled off, apparently. Let's see what's happening over here.
And
That's
it's
some
kind of a
barbarians,
hectic
yeah.
pace to keep up with. Pete's doing a little better at keeping up with it than I am, but that's just sort of, we're having the AI roll forward at whatever pace it's able to sustain, and you can see it's doing pretty well because we're scrolling around seeing a lot of the combats and the other activities going on, but it's tricky to keep up with it when the game's in this mode.
So we've had people ask what size map this is. This is actually a standard size map and a standard game speed as well too.
Yeah, and it's a continents map. Continents maps typically are split into 2 major land masses like this, and a standard map will have 8 civilizations, just like we have in this game. And usually you have one continent that's larger than the other, so we have the normal breakdown of 3 civs on one continent and 5 on the other.
Right. This is King difficulty, and then somebody had asked, I hope they've done this before. We have been playing these AI games for months. Like Ed said, there have been PCs on kind of doing demonstration AI-only games because it's very, very useful. Not only is it cool to watch, but as a development team, the team can check on it and say, oh, hey, look, this is checked in, this looks awesome. Oh, maybe I want to go back and tweak this thing.
And there have been times during development where like the barbarians were out of control and we could see like smoking, pillaged improvements outside all the AI cities, and we knew we needed to turn the barbarians down. Or there'd be times where the AI civs would be focusing on, they were nuts about catapults for a while and things like that. So we've been able to use this as sort of not only do we get log files out of this that we can check to make sure that the AI performance is where it needs to be, but we also can just sort of visually see how is the game looking at a certain point in time? Is it progressing the way we would expect it to
So
be?
interestingly enough, I'm going to pause this for a second. Russia, despite having gotten hemmed in down here, has just decided that it's going to settle, not in this convenient area here, but all the way up top, north of the Aztec, They've just set up the city of Smolensk.
And they grabbed the natural wonder. I kept saying that the Aztecs should have gone for it.
Yeah, the Aztec are not going to be happy about that. So the Aztec expanding south.
And then I saw there was a second Russian settler also moving out.
I did
on
see
fake
that.
news.
I did see that. So we'll see if that one makes it down okay.